So everyone's sleeping on SoFi stock, but when it moves very fast. Here's what nobody's talking about and why these next earnings could flip everything. So we've been covering some stocks recently inside of StockMate, our live sessions, and one of the things we talked about was big earnings in tech this week. If we take a look over, we can go to AI and LLM. Really, it's in financials, but we're going to search up SoFi Technologies. You can take a look here. They recently had this big trend, this big surgence up to about $18 before they sold off. And this is really going back to 2022. We don't need to go back too much further, but you can see this interesting trajectory. We haven't covered SoFi stock much, but recently we started to see this pullback and it dropped back down to about $8.50 after surging from $4 up to $18. So again, about 4x at one point. Now you see this new trend that's kind of developing. It's definitely more on the bearish side right now. As you can see, it recently is selling off and it bounced, started to push back up, but still holding below that EMA. So the blue line you can see oftentimes acts as a resistance when it's going to be bearish, and if it's bullish in the other instance like here, it acts as a support. So recently we do see it kind of acting as a resistance, and it just recently crossed below that 200-day moving average, so indicating a little more bearish momentum. However, before we see a reversal or we see, let's say, some sort of continuation in any direction, oftentimes there's going to be an oversold. Oftentimes there's going to be an oversell. There's going to be this indication that maybe it's crossed over. It's pretty far down on the MACD. So the RSI, these indicators here, indicating more of a buy down here. That being said, the overall direction does seem down in the near term, which could indicate more of a sell-off down. So let's take a look at the actual stock. We saw it was up 3.75% recently. When it comes to SoFi stock, the price is at $10.98. It's a market cap of $12 billion. The financials are interesting because you go from quarter over quarter, you see they're getting significant revenue, just under $1 billion in quarter 4, 2024, and about the net profit margins, about 45% of that is actual profit, so net income. You can see if you look from quarter to quarter, they did have this volatility where the revenue was down, then it was up, and then it was down, it was up, and then now it's up again, and it's up 20% year over year. In the green, in the revenue, in the green, in the net income, and the earnings per share are showing signs of growth, as you can see, continually green. So the financials, they've looked pretty good. When you compare them to any other stock, one that I'm going to be considering as a close comparison would be Robinhood. Take a look at Robinhood. They're about 3 times the size at $36 billion. And then you look at their revenue, they're at $1 billion in revenue per quarter. So about 300 million more, which is about, let's say, 30% more of the current price of, or the current revenue of SoFi. However, they're about 3 times the amount of market cap. So their net income's higher on Robinhood. You can see it's about 3 times maybe on net income. So the valuation's still looking pretty good there. And the reason we compare it is because when you look at SoFi recently, this net income and the revenue of about 727 million is pretty good for the market cap being where it is at 12 billion. It's recently pulled back. PE ratio is around 25, which is fairly healthy. And then you can take a look at this recent pullback. So right now, just overall trend in what we're seeing, I could see a potentially a nice entry here. This is a previous resistance that it's at right now. So previous resistance right here, and that's where it is right now. So previous resistance oftentimes will act as a support. Why is that important? Well, if we see it act as a support, that's more of a bullish trend. And that could indicate maybe we see a recovery up into this range at about $17 or $18 if it can continue some of its momentum. Now, as you can see, RSI MACD looking like more of a buy, so potentially less risk, especially if it holds above this $10.50 range, which would be a nice level to watch closely. And if it does, this is a swing that's relatively big at about 63% margin for profit. So we'll be watching it closely. And again, if you guys want to watch us trade live at market open tomorrow, I would encourage you guys to simply take a look at that second link in the description. We go live there Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time each day. As long as the market's open, we're there. So if you're guessing, you want to take some guessing out of your trading, it's that second link down below. We got a nice sale for you guys there. It's a huge sale, best ever, in the second link below. Thank you guys again for watching. If I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. Do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.